Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
I welcome you, my dear Padawans, to the next episode of Conversations with the Universe. Today we are talking with Dr. Augusto, Dr. Augustus's essence. And I want to apologize a bit at the beginning for the slightly worse sound quality, because this time we tried a different microphone, which unfortunately did not work as well. But in the next episode, it will be better again, just a little bit this time. Please excuse the quality as it's not very good. So let's get started with Dr. Augusto. Dear entity Dr. Augusto, I'm glad, you too. I would like to learn a bit more about you today. Is there something you would like to tell me first?
A lot of different things.
Let's just start with your last life. Is that okay? Yes. Then let's go to your last starting life. What important situations were there? Was there anything special in your childhood or youth that you would like to share?
Childhood was very beautiful, and I had many mentors. Then I joined the military and wanted to study internal medicine. That's what I did, and spent a lot of time on this task.
Were there things that particularly touched you while you were doing this task?
A lot.
Please share.
I was mostly busy treating people in their despair over the injuries.
I am.
That took a lot of strength. But I was able to learn a lot through this activity.
Did you also have amputations and such?
Of course.
So you studied internal medicine but also performed surgeries in the end, right?
That's basically all combined into a study in the military.
Dr. Augusto, I still can't quite understand how you became the being you are now. Through João de Deus, the medium who worked in Abidjan, you worked? How was the way there? Can you tell me a bit more about it? Explain in more detail.
I ask you to help me find the words. The sadness I felt back then was much stronger than I can put into words.
What made you so sad?
The helplessness of not being able to alleviate the suffering.
Did you have a wife and children?
Yes.
And did you also take an interest in spiritual things?
Got it.
And how did you study them?
Through meditation and calmness, I tried to find the answers. The answers to how I can deal with this sadness. But I've explored other areas because of it.
Which ones, for example?
The soul.
That's interesting. What exactly did you research there?
The soul energy.
And how did you do that?
I tried to categorize human energy in terms of soul energy.
Mm-hmm.
This made it easier for me to understand why some people had more strength and others less.
I can underline that. I wrote an entire book about it. I tried to explain it with an example that people know better these days. You talked about 1,000 watt bulbs and stuff, but you're not saying that now because you didn't have electricity back then, right?
It tells me something. The strength of a soul is tied to its awareness.
Yes, exactly. I can also underline that. So you were also a kind of soul researcher, just as I am now. Are there any other insights you've learned that you would like to share?
The soul is never separated from the source. But people do not consciously perceive this all-connecting energy.
And what did you use to measure that, or how did you find that out?
Due to the worried, loveless energies that people radiated, I knew they weren't consciously connected.
And have you met any conscious beings in your life? No?
I don't have that often.
How did it go on? Did you have any other
Oh,
insights?
yes.
For example,
That people are not very aware in their present perception.
you mean they don't live very much in the moment, right?
Right.
And what were the further findings?
The further realizations were that I cannot enlighten people if they do not want
Yes,
it.
I can understand that. Did you gain all these insights when you were in the military, or when? How was it?
I made these insights during this time, but many others also after.
For example,
The essence of the soul is malleable in its form.
what do you mean exactly?
The energy of the soul is like a rubber ball.
Do you mean rubber?
Yes, that's right.
Like an energy made of rubber.
That's right.
And
This energy can be influenced. I noticed it when I was treating people and thinking of beautiful things. Then they were transformed just by these thoughts.
and how did you notice this transformation?
Through the joy that slowly expressed itself in them without me using words.
Wow, then you had some time in your life to experiment a bit with the soul.
Yes.
And did you work as this doctor your whole life? Or-
Most of the time, yes.
And
Then I brightened my time with traveling.
did you travel with your wife and child?
Oh, yes.
A child?
2 children, a boy and a girl.
Interesting. And Dr. Augusto, tell me, how was your transition out of life?
I would like to keep this information to myself, please.
Stop, with pleasure. May I still ask you how it happened that you now work as this entity after the transition? Among other things, through Joao de Dios, what were the components of that? That's it. Thank you very much.
It's a long story. I started to get to know joy more on other levels. Through that, I understood that love is a remedy I couldn't use in my life, but this special power was more accessible to me here in the subtle regions than in the body of a human. This increased my desire to help people with this kind of love.
And how did you get to Abajania in Juhao?
I began searching for an energy pure enough to work within, and I found it here in Abajanja.
And
Then I saw Joao in this role and started working with him.
now I have a question. You introduced yourself to him and he said, "Come to me," or how?
That's roughly how it was.
And since then, did you just go to him back then, and did you operate together visibly and invisibly on people? What can you say about the visible, the physical operations from your perspective, which is no longer in a body? These operations are a very bonding action. What do you mean by that?
The type of operation is a connected one. We strengthen the connection through this process.
Other words,
Choose. You mean with the
and
connection?
the connection to
To
you.
how or to you? What exactly do you mean? The people who have the surgeries in their bodies be brought into a state that makes them completely devoted. This dedication is the key.
The devotion.
The dedication.
Then please explain to me why the operation is still needed at all, if only dedication is required. Wouldn't it be enough if you just stroked the skin and people felt something?
That would be enough in principle. But I know people think visually, and that is why I preferred to establish truly visible connections for you in the visible operations.
But sometimes it scratches your eye too, like what exactly happened there?
Then we move to this part of the soul that is connected to the eye. It's like a meridian that we work with.
But why don't you take any meridian?
Sylvia, please be careful with your questions. Otherwise, you confuse people.
Sorry, so yes, of course you use the eyes because that's where you directly reach the meridian you need to work on. Sorry, what exactly happens while you're scratching there?
The meridian soul energy flowing there is being purified.
And what about other operations on the body? Sometimes there are cuts and such. Surprisingly, there's never really any blood. So let's say rarely. Do you have an explanation why that is? How do you do it?
It's very simple. We numb this area.
How do you do that?
This area is treated with energy to let little blood flow. And the perception of this place begins to change. This means, on the one hand, fewer sensations, and on the other hand, less blood.
When you say you numb these areas, how do you numb them?
This happens through a special kind of energy that we get from the entities of cleansing.
How am I supposed to imagine that? Can you draw me a picture that I can share with people? So if you're operating visually and, for example, you're incorporated into the medium and he has tools held around him by other people, when do the white spheres work? To the people, I can call them white orbs or light orbs, right?
Absolutely.
A little info here for all those who just tuned into the podcasts. There are several episodes on the topic of the white spheres. If you want to learn a bit more, please check out the other seasons. We will continue here now. So when do these balls work and how?
The light orbs prepare these operations quickly. This takes a fraction of a second in your time. This information, this place needs the operation. It is initiated into him like an injection through the aura of the person. She works there for a short time.
It actually starts when Joao begins bringing people onto the stage to then present the operation afterward.
That's how it is.
Usually he places them against a wall or sits them down.
The light orbs are working just as the decision has been made.
Okay, and then you start working and the people are laid down and then lie in a room next door. What happens there?
There. This information is taken from the aura again, and the healing in them can begin. This process is ultimately the responsibility of the people themselves, but we accelerate it through this operation.
Okay, do you want to say anything else about the visible operations? Something that you might want to share with people so they know, so they hear it now, and so that they can stick to it for life?
I would really like that. The operations people get here are not comparable to what you know in your world. The actual operation is in the soul. There, soul energy is activated, and it begins the healing process.
Dear Dr. Augusto, how do you feel now in the plane where you are currently with all these insights?
You can imagine how I feel. I am very relieved that there is a way to really heal people.
Did you actually never plan to come back to Earth? No.
This way of experiencing existence here is the best for me. I am not trapped in a body, yet I can use it to help. The relief that I won't die with this knowledge, but that it will continue to exist from now on, and I can always be like that until I want to change it.
Would you like to say something about the invisible operations now?
Invisible operations will increase in the future because I place a lot of value on people getting many operations.
Why do you care so much about that?
That is a matter of energy. People are losing more and more energy in the way they live, unconnected. This loss drains their strength. In turn, this creates a vicious cycle. Less energy means less connection. Less connectedness costs even more energy.
I've also had surgery once and had a very interesting experience. So that I felt my energy, that I was cleansed, that things were removed. Can you confirm this, or how do you perceive these operations from your perspective? Perspective was?
I can definitely confirm that. Your perception is very exceptional, and you will provide people with a lot of valuable information through this perception, which could make people more aware.
Yes, let's hope so. Dear Dr. Augusto, what would you like to convey to people when they entrust into your hands, because you are also dealing with other beings?
They should please have more faith in the elemental beings.
You mean to say that you are the beings of power, or do you mean all spiritual beings now?
The entities that incorporate in the medium are the power beings. The others are the helpers.
And the helpers are the ones who clean.
The cleansing is done by us. And the entities of cleansing accompany this.
I had an interview this morning with a white sphere that described itself as an entity of cleansing. I just want to put it in the right context. In the end, those are helpers, right?
Here they are.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a whole lot. But if you also cleanse, and they are the beings of purification, so why don't we call you the beings of purification too?
That could be done. But we're a bit more personal.
Understood. That's why you are not only the entities of purification, but also memories. Look at your lives and all the experiences that came with it in an organism, right?
Correct.
That makes sense, okay. Dr. Augusto, is there anything else, or is there something that still makes you sad now?
It exists.
Do you want to tell me about it?
The sadness in people makes me sad, since I can't help. Because I can't always explain everything. To take away this sadness from you.
I see. And is there something that makes you happy?
Connecting the energies. That's a beautiful, very blissful feeling.
So when a soul reconnects with the source, right? You seem very strict. Where does that come from?
Very strict.
Well, very serious.
Well, that might come from my last training as a military soldier. Back then, this was how we communicated. And I still have that in me.
Do you mean that you will shed this over time, if that's the right way to put it?
No.
I'm just asking because people talk about you being very strict and very close in your treatments and surgeries. You seem serious when people aren't disciplined, but you know joy is important too.
Yes, I know that. But this work demands a lot of attention from all of us, and we need this attention from people too. So I have to shape it for them.
I understand. Do you actually have an opinion on humanity's current beliefs on planet Earth?
People seem less and less connected. This is a very big problem.
And do you have any idea how we could solve this?
You can do this very easily by no longer searching for answers externally, but within yourself. Soul language is not a language that needs words.
I know. What do people do most wrong?
A mess. People here in this place mostly stay in their consciousness, where they have always been. But I wish they would move.
Do you mean they should move their consciousness?
That's what I mean.
I can confirm that, but I still haven't found the answer as to why they don't do it. What do you think is the reason why they don't or can't do it?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that for you. I respect free will and I protect the decision. But I can't always understand it.
A being once told me that they find it sad that people come here to get attention and not at all to really heal. Can you confirm that? Yes, unfortunately, crazy. Is there a place where you are right now? Are you here now or on another level? How can I imagine that a bit better? Please describe.
I am on the 4th level, like all of us. There, I work into the matter. You are now connected with me on the 4th level.
And when you incorporate into the medium in Joao, how does that feel?
It feels very tight. You are much smaller than the energies of our souls.
Yes, I had a vision in the crystal bed earlier where a being had quite large hands and took my hands. Does it come close to the dimension I experienced?
Yes, definitely.
So these hands really felt twice as big as mine, but then you feel easily twice as big as Joao?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and when you are in the rooms and the people that are meditating, where do you stay?
There we are, in the rooms you visit. But please, don't confuse that we are not always there in all our forms, but mostly just with consciousness.
Yes, I understand that. It makes sense. How many entities are usually there with the whole form?
That's usually just one entity. The rest comes from the 4th level.
But all the white balls are here.
Yes, the light orbs are the helpers.
Could one also say the white balls are like angels?
Hey. Yeah.
Yes, but they are not, I know. Angels are something else entirely.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you laugh sometimes too.
Yes, but I'm laughing.
Yes, but you just seem so strict.
I'm sorry, that's just how I am.
No, it's all good. All good. I just mean compared to other entities, there's a really special strictness in you. Do you want to tell me something else?
I regret that I'm not as funny as you'd like me to be, but I am still connected with the experiences and impressions of the previous life. And so, dear Sylvia, That's just how
But
it
that's
is.
okay. You really don't have to apologize for that. I just wanted to tell you, I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yes. I know that.
Would you like to describe to me how you perceive people when you treat them? I would really be interested in that. So, when you are incorporated in the medium,
I perceive their aura and see the energy fields within it. Most of it is contaminated and needs to be purified. And I can guide people and tell them what they need to do to experience their cleansing. I don't know. But could it be that I met you the first time I was there? You have it. And you said you can heal me? That's right. You saw that. I noticed that you still have some areas of contamination in you, but I know that you will soon clear this up. And then your eyes will get better too.
why actually? All right, okay, it's coming to me slowly. If you use the eyes as a channel, a meridian to cleanse the soul, then my eyes are the clue for the contamination, right?
That's how it is.
It's exciting. Why does nobody tell me that? Sorry.
As you see, I'm laughing because that's okay. I'm happy to be here to answer these questions for you.
Cool. By the way, how do you perceive a strong connection of a soul to the source?
I do this by seeing that the soul is especially connected to the energy of the cosmos.
How can I imagine that, the energy of the cosmos? Is there a beam or a thread coming out? What is it like?
You must imagine it like a connection string reaching into the cosmos. But when you say people are not connected, I think...
This string practically never breaks. But how do you see this connection then? What does it look like? Then it is very narrow and thin, and when you are connected, it becomes thicker, like a channel that gets thicker. That's how it is. And how do you recognize, like in my case, that someone has a gift, that it arises, or
we
endgame in
recognize
5?
that by the shape of the string. It is then very wide.
Oh, when you told me that I would develop a talent, the thread was already wide.
That was it, and still is. So this way, you get the information that is available in the cosmos for you. And this channel is your gift.
And what changes now over time with the channel and me? Here, for example, through this cleansing, this channel becomes even wider and changes its color. What exactly happens? How should I imagine it?
The color of the channel is getting whiter.
Oh, that's nice.
That's not nice, Sylvia. That's reality.
I'm just joking a little. Are there many people with such a wider channel? No, that's a shame. Why?
I can't answer that for you. It is how it is. Nevertheless, exciting. What connection do most people have when they incarnate? Most people have a slightly deformed cord that doesn't really seem particularly connected. I try to strengthen this connection again through meditations, but it is very difficult. Believe me, people's thoughts are the problem. The fears and created blockades constantly prevent this. I am sometimes truly speechless. How slow these processes are. Because it's actually not that complicated. But sometimes people block their own development.
Do you have an explanation for why they do that?
I can't say that. I don't know.
Was there ever a healing session, if you can call it that, that touched you deeply?
No.
Is that because you generally don't get much from people except the energy fields?
It is so. Because we focus on staying in our energy, and we should not be able to turn to people and their issues. People must do that themselves.
I understand. I don't know if it was Dominatio or one of the other beings. I was told that in the end it is an energizing process that you do.
That's the way it is. Energy enters the soul. This is the key. This energy can move the soul, move it towards healing. Or people can block this healing again. Then it's no longer my responsibility.
Is there any being you are in frequent contact with?
Oh, yes. It's the entity Dr. Valdivino.
What do you like so much about him?
The love in him. It is so great. He is like a father to me.
Is there actually something like a feeling of loneliness there in that state for you on the plane, whatever we call it,
Very
where you are
little.
right now?
But I know what you mean. It is not loneliness that you feel here. It is isolation through surrender. But I'm afraid these words are not the right ones. Because isolation is not the right word. Nothing is separated from each other. And we don't feel separated here. Therefore, isolation is not real. I mean that focusing on this task really requires a lot of attention. Do you understand me? This power is then not available for other things in the cosmos.
I see. Well, that's just how it is.
Well, that's just how it
Dear
is.
Dr. Augusto, what message would you like to give to the people?
That they need to trust more. Healing is not something we can achieve overnight. Healing is a journey, and it takes steps to walk this path. So please tell them to be patient. The energies do not change overnight. It is a process.
Is there a favorite place in the casa where you like to be most aware of your consciousness?
Oh, yes. It's the chapel.
You all kind of like being in the chapel.
The
Why?
energy there is
Very high and very pure. I like this place, I can understand that. What can I do, for example, or what could I do in the chapel?
whatever you want. It's up to you. The chapel is just the place that is very pure, beautiful. And why is that? I can't answer that for you. Dr. Augusto, do you want to say something else? I want to say that we have the connection to other areas of the cosmos here, and that's why it's so much easier for you to communicate with us. However,
I can confirm that. Extremely much easier. Can you tell me how you can visually perceive the whole place, the casa, the area?
I can do that very gladly. I see this area as very white and bright. I actually need a different word for that, but I can't find it.
I see. Okay, well, what else do you want to say?
I'd love to tell you how I felt when I treated a person as an entity for the first time.
Sure, that's interesting.
Back then, I was still very, very much in my perception of my last life. But I tried to focus and sense the person's energy. Then I saw him and its energy fields. That's when I knew I was in the right place. And I was very happy that I finally found a way to recognize and heal the soul.
Fantastic. I'm a bit envious of you. I can understand very well how happy you were. My arm hurts right now. We need to take a little break, so let's continue later. At least that is how I wrote it.
First,
So
if you want to,
let's just continue.
will we do that?
Okay.
What else do you want to ask me? I am available for anything you want to say.
Okay, then let me ask you, what are you willing to share and record?
I want to tell you how the energy of the place is connected to the energy of the soul.
Yes, please, that is very interesting.
The energy in a place is the reason why certain qualities incarnate there. It's like colors that resonate with each other, either beautifying or not harmonizing. The energies of the place usually resonate with the souls of the place.
So what I'm really curious about is the energy of a place due to the place itself or the souls there?
The cause is the energy that the place enables. However, everything is always connected. However, the place itself is stronger. The energy of the place attracts the energies of the souls, or maybe not.
I once lived in Austria. How would you describe Austria energetically?
This country is beautiful, but the energy of the people there is unfortunately somewhat stifling. This has its roots in the past history of your countries. I once visited Austria as a person, and I was very taken by the beauty of the mountains there. But I also felt how people there are trapped in unconsciousness.
And how about Germany? Can you say something about its energy too?
It's similar there. I've also been to Germany. It was the same there. The energy of the people there is also very constricting.
And how is it in England?
England is better. Many beings find their places of energy for purification there. That is also the reason why you find messages painted in the fields there. These are the entities of healing that want to contact you so that you awaken.
What about France?
That's different from other countries because the energy line of providence is there.
What is that?
The energy of providence determines the development of humanity in a certain way. This energy line can be seen as a meridian of the earth. That's where the energy line of the heart chakra can be found. This way, the line is connected to the heart energy of the people, and this shows their fate.
And what does the heart line say right now?
This heart line says that people are becoming less and less connected to each other, and that this dims humanity's energy. I look in that direction with a wistful eye, because I do not want to believe what I see.
Honestly, I'm also a little speechless because humanity prides itself so much on being intelligent, highly developed, and oh, so connecting. There are all kinds of donation companies, funds, and whatnot, many institutions that help. But how does that match with what you are reporting?
Many people do not help out of love, but out of calculation. That's the problem. Then helping becomes just a mask, like the death mask among Native Americans.
And what is the cause, can you say? That's cruel. I mean, sad, very sad.
I can't watch it.
How should I imagine that? Will this heartline then continue to diminish?
That's how it is.
Well, you really can't believe that. That's really disillusioning.
Oh, that's it. But we all hope that people become more aware and that initiatives like yours can still bring about change.
I understand that you don't want to look there. It really drains energy when if you do that, you don't want to believe it. Let's keep talking. So
Gladly.
France is no longer as strong energetically because the heartline is getting weaker, right?
Correct.
That's with Italy.
The line of the heart is still present there, but in a different form. So the energies that converge in Rome are another matter altogether.
I'm listening.
There, in that place, is the intersection of the line of the heart and the line of the belly of the earth. These two lines connect in the middle, where the palace you call Dom stands.
You mean St. Peter's Basilica?
There is the intersection.
Heart and belly.
Heart and belly.
Stomach, isn't there another term for it? I mean, the heart is an organ, but a stomach is not an organ.
The heart is not the organ you have. I mean more the heart energy that flows there, and the energy that flows in the stomach. It's like the energy of motherhood.
And what is this energy of motherhood good for us?
The energy of motherhood brings things forth with the power of femininity.
So heart and maternal energy, so heart energy and female lineage come together there, right?
Right.
And why are there only men?
The answer is your question. Dear, the power potential of these two lines is so great, which has motivated people to oppose it even more clearly there. As a result, femininity is not present there at all.
What do you think about it from your perspective? You've also had dealings with the church.
I find it very sad that people are so power hungry. This power that is emitted into the world in disharmony is the cause of much suffering on this planet.
So once again, just to understand, we have the heart line and the female line, both of which converge there. And on top of that, there's a house that only promotes masculine energy. What exactly causes only men to be there?
Say men who work and act there turn the energy of femininity into the energy of masculinity and deprive themselves and humanity in the process of saving the world. Effect of female power. Subtitles by the Mara.org.
Do you find anything good about the church? I mean, you have experienced it, but now you see it from another perspective.
The church is basically the form of the devil, as you like to say. The word devil means the negation of human feelings, the negation of love, but at least a form of love, just not in the way people see it.
It's really nice talking to you about so many things, and I understand you very well too. It's really pleasant and goes quite quickly nowadays.
It is like that because you are already much purer, and the energy here is purer. Both components together create this flow.
Awesome. What would you like to tell me next, since you're in such a talkative mood?
I want to tell you what we do with people who are not ready to heal yet.
Sure, I'm listening.
Are these people put into a state of trance, and then people have the chance to let their soul speak during that time? Soul language is not bound to words. I know. When does he do that? When does that happen? It varies. Sometimes they are dreams. Sometimes they are meditations. We send you the energy that makes you sleepy, and then the soul begins to communicate. So this is also part of the process in Abhijnana. That's how it is. How do you notice that someone doesn't want to heal? We notice that in the way he perceives things, or doesn't perceive them. If he is open, then he is ready. If he is closed, he is not ready.
And how does open and closed look energetically?
Simply put, the aura is open when it shines.
Got it. What else would you like to tell me about it?
I want to tell you that we let people take responsibility for their choices.
Very good. And how do you actually recognize evil people, if you can even say that?
I can't tell if they are evil. I recognize the energy in you, but I think I know what you mean. I notice in many people that they have closed hearts. This is a hint about what you experience as evil.
I see. And does the openness of a heart actually have a lot to do with awareness and consciousness?
No. The heart is the gateway to the other world, but not the proof or cause of consciousness. Heart energy is merely a supportive energy for awareness, but not the energy alone.
What is important?
The heart connection.
The heart helps to establish the connection, right?
Right.
Then it is already involved.
That's right. But it's much more than that.
It takes willpower. What else is needed?
It takes willingness, merit, permission, the energy in general, potentials, the surroundings, the right people, the right places, the right perception,
I would
and
say so too.
on and so
Incredible.
forth.
And when you look at people, can you actually see something from their past life as well?
Rarely. It's not really important either.
Well, there are people who believe in things like karma or similar. Some people think that what happens to them has a cause in another life.
Sylvia,
That's why I'm asking.
that's right. But it's not my field. I see what I see, and I don't ask why I see it.
Got it. Can you see into the
Yes.
future? And how does that work?
It's quite simple. You see the energy of now and transforms these through their own will or readiness, intention, goals. And it is this willingness that paves the way into the future.
Yes, that's true. Oh, one more question occurs to me. Someone once said you had been with the Freemasons all your life. Is that true? Very interesting.
Who told you that?
I think it was Dr. Valdivino, that's right.
Is it correct? Why?
You were with the
Yes.
Freemasons, and what do you think of the organization?
I learned a lot of useful things there, and I really appreciated many contacts. But I know that these orders no longer have a potential function as we had back then. That's a shame, because it was really, really nice there.
Please don't be mad at Dr.
Ha,
Valdivino.
ha, ha, ha. No, he didn't just tell you that without a reason. Maybe it had some meaning for him or for you.
Yes, maybe. We can discuss it another time, because I would say today let's take a little break and continue tomorrow with a few more questions. Thanks, lover.